Hey guys, it's Amanda and Baron, and we are back again with Kickin Cancer Cares on KSLM Radio. Huge shout out to our sponsor for the second half, which is Venti's Cafe. Absolutely amazing food. I love that they are vegan free, vegetarian, vegan free. They're vegan, vegetarian, gluten free. They've got options for every single diet restriction or just whatever you prefer. And they also have just normal protein, beef and chicken as well.
But even with the proteins, they always say that the proteins they have are range grass fed.
Yes, grass fed. Yes, very good, well sourced, local, all the things. If you don't want a beef patty, they do like a lentil mushroom patty. And it sounds different.
But when we were there doing the show, you would never have guessed that was a hamburger.
It was so good. And I love their spicy jackfruit. It tastes just like pulled pork. It's my absolute favorite. So definitely go check them out. They've got something on the menu for everybody. My kids love their grilled cheese sandwich and tomato soup. So there's stuff for adults and kids.
Well, and even the grilled cheese isn't your basic grilled cheese sandwich. It's got
it's so good.
Little extra kick to it as well.
It's amazing.
So, well, those that are just joining us, we've got Vanessa Rutherford and her son here. You've told us his story about from 9 months old and the ride that you guys took to get him to a point that he didn't have cancer.
Yeah.
Cancer free. But that whole thing kind of began to reshape who you are as a person too, didn't it?
It sure did.
So before this all happened, what path were you headed on in life? What were you thinking about doing with your life before this all happened?
You'll laugh. So I was in veterinary medicine. My goal was to work with animals. I enjoyed it because people are difficult to work with. So that was never my goal. Like I never wanted to work with people. And and
as a vet, you have to learn all the different animals. So I always say vet school has got to be harder than medical school.
Yeah, I wasn't actually headed for vet school. I worked in a surgical practice that was a specialty clinic for dogs and cats. I loved it. I assisted in surgery. I was one of the major I ran one of our teams, and so I did a lot of things around surgical things, a lot of knee fixes and replacements and hip replacements in dogs, and I loved it. But when I got pregnant, I decided I was going to be a stay-at-home mom. And God has a funny way of working because I came from 5, my husband came from 5, and we're like, 5 kids sounds right.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's doable. Like, it's crazy household, but you're never bored. And
and you both came from families of 5, so why not?
Why not? And we had 1.
One and done.
Considering what you went through with the 1, probably 1 and done was enough.
It was funny because we looked at 1 and we're like, well, we tried again after a while, but there was a point in all of his treatment that we're like, we could never do this again. Like, you could never have another child if this is the story that you get to walk. But far enough out the other side, I wish we would have had more kids. That's just not the plan God had for us, and that's okay. But we're blessed to still have this one, and so that makes me beyond happy. But my goal was to be a stay-at-home mom. And after all of his treatment was done, and we kind of had some really amazing people in our journey, one in particular was our sedation nurse. Yes, we went sedated, or he was sedated enough to have a sedation nurse. We had one that would fight for him every single time, including giving another nurse a black eye, which was the funniest story because she came out, like another nurse came to get him and like called his name, and it wasn't Michelle. And this nurse had a black eye, like she just had an incident. And then Michelle walks out and she goes, "Just kidding, he's mine. I did that." And so we were laughing at her. And of course, she didn't give somebody a black eye over it, but she would fight to get him because she just knew us so well. And she knew that when he woke from sedation, it was Fruit Loops and apple juice were the 2 things that he required when he would wake up because it was almost like smelling salts. Like Fruit Loops, for whatever reason, would wake him up. So she would always have Fruit Loops and apple juice ready for him.
At that age has got to be a really tricky thing on how you're going to handle that, too.
Yeah. They knew him very well. He metabolizes things very quickly. And so they would give him that initial shot of things to knock him out. And then she knew him very well and was ready with the second one because there were times where they'd take him down the hall, which was always so hard as a parent to watch your kid go with somebody else because you can't go into the scanners.
Right.
And just wait that hour or 2 hours while you're just waiting for him to return.
Like, why aren't they back yet? What bad news did they find?
Yeah, it was always hard to wait, but we knew that in her hands, he was good.
Yeah.
But she was kind of that first nurse that shaped where I wanted to go. And I looked at that and well, okay, I can help dogs and cats, but I could help people. And my husband's like, you should go back to nursing school. And I'm like, no, I don't want to go back to nursing school. The people thing, I just don't want to people. People are hard to care for.
Yes.
Dogs and cats, you can muzzle, sedate, deal with. It's not a big deal. Adults are a little different.
And
You
some
can't.
aren't very patient patients either.
Correct. Some are not very patient patients. And he told me for a while, he's like, you should go back to nursing school. You should go back to nursing school. And he finally convinced me. And I was like, okay, but I want to work with kids. And funny story, kids are a lot like animals. Like, you have to guess what they're thinking. You have to treat them very differently than an adult who you can talk to, because there's a lot of like fear and things that come up with kids that you're really working with them in a very different way than you would an adult. So I started down the journey of nursing school and went back to college and ended up at OHSU in Monmouth. Graduated from there with my bachelor's and went and worked with kids for a while. I did urgent care here locally, and then I did a couple other things. I did surgery for a while, and kind of, I don't know what sparked the decision, but decided I'd go for more school, because why
not?
Why stop there?
Why
Why have only so much, schooling under your belt that you go do some more?
You had a bachelor in nursing.
I had a bachelor's in nursing at that point.
Okay.
So I'd gone for an associate's, and then I did a bachelor's.
So when you have a bachelor's, are you an RN at that point?
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
So I was an RN and decided I'd go for what's called a DNP, and that is a doctorate of nursing, and that allows you to be a nurse practitioner. And here in Oregon, we have a program that is specific for pediatrics.
Okay.
And so my goal was to go to this program and go be a nurse equivalent, if you will, of a pediatrician. So basically, I am dual certified in acute care and primary care. So I could be your child's primary care doctor, or I could go work in a hospital and, treat patients in a hospital system.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't do the doctor part of it, but you do all the nursing part of it.
In a sense. So we are considered providers as a nurse practitioner. So we are not actually doing the nursing role. So like typically you would see nurses doing things in the hospital, like hanging your medications and dealing with your stuff day to day. We're actually on what you would consider the doctor team, is what we get called a lot.
Okay.
And so you're part of that decision-making process. So my job when I graduated, I got hired onto 10 South, the exact same floor that my son was treated on.
Oh, that's a bit ironic.
A little bit.
That's
That
cool.
was not the plan.
That's
And
cool.
Not
Was it weird walking back into that environment as the nurse, not the parent?
it was different. It was very different. And it was one of those things that you're like, this was not my plan, but God had different plans.
Right.
And like, he kicked me through the door for those. Like, you don't typically, as a new graduate nurse practitioner, walk onto that floor and get hired. They usually like more experience and things like that. But the team was amazing. They took me on as a new graduate and trained me, and I worked with them for a couple years. And it was just so great to stand on the other side of the bed knowing what that parent's going through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, you have a different level of empathy.
You brought more to the table.
It's very humbling. And I never
I would
ever
imagine most nurses are sympathetic to the situation, but you had, like you say, a different level. You were empathetic, completely empathetic to the situation.
Yeah. I knew what it was like to stand on the other side of that bed and hear those words and try to figure out what on earth was being told to you, because it's really hard when you're being told something. You actually have to be told that 100 times before it ever sinks in what's going on. So as a nurse practitioner with that team, you are actually the one going in and talking to the families about the diagnosis. You're helping them through that. You're doing their daily plan. So our job was to manage kids on the patient or on the floor each day. So whatever thing we caused from chemo or the disease itself, it was my job to help manage that.
Okay.
Whether that was bring on additional teams, because our hospital systems are great, and we have, nephrologists if you have a kidney issue, we have endocrinologists if you have some other like metabolic disorder. So a lot of the issues that we cause, we have other teams we can bring on, and it was my job to kind of negotiate each patient for the day and help make sure that they were safe and cared for, transfer if they need to, or manage on the floor if they need to.
And unfortunately, what we use to take care of the problem can create new problems.
Will create new problems. Yes.
And so how do you deal with the new problems?
Yeah, it's a chore. Chemo in and of itself is a wonder drug in that it stops a horrible process, but we are poisoning cells and killing cells.
Right.
And
hoping you kill enough of the bad ones before you kill
Correct.
the good ones. There's a balancing act they're trying to do there.
yeah, and actually most chemos are not that selective. So we're killing anything that's actively dividing. And that's why skin and like the hair falls out, because that's a constantly dividing cell. It's always growing. It's always changing. Well, those are the cells that we are shutting off, because cancer is the same way. It's actively dividing. So we are after cells that are actively dividing.
Which is why you lose your taste
Correct.
pretty soon too.
All of your mucous membranes, so your tongue all the way through to the other end, is also actively dividing. So that's why things come up with taste issues or what's called mucositis. So you can have that GI upset, that nausea, the vomiting, all of the GI things that come with it is because those are the cells we are killing. So we're killing the entire lining of your stomach, basically.
So then your job became managing the patient after they'd gone through the chemo process.
During it, all of it, because we were giving them chemo on the floor. So my job became managing families and kids from the time of diagnosis when they walk onto 10 South all the way through the time they get to ring that bell, and or not. I mean, it really just kind of, it depended.
Well, and that couldn't have been easy to see the
No.
kids that don't make it either. I'm sure that there are plenty of stories of kids that don't make it.
Yeah, that is very hard. I think the only thing that gets you through that is your faith.
Yeah.
And I don't know how people do it without. Like, it is a humbling experience to walk with a parent that's not, the treatment isn't going well.
Right.
And you got to try to be there for them and watch them as their kid's not responding to the treatment.
Yes. Yep. It's a very hard place to walk, but such a privilege to walk with people through that experience as well.
Yeah, we had a guest sometime back whose kid is, probably 16 now. And it was the same thing for her. That remember when Eve came in and talked about her son Hunter, and she's looking at these other parents who the kids don't make it.
Yeah.
And she's like feeling so blessed that her kid did make it, but at the same time, why did my kid make it and those ones didn't make it?
Yeah. And again, I think my faith is why, or not necessarily why he made it, but it makes an impact on what you do with the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like my goal now is to help kids and families, whatever that looks like. For a while, it was treating them on the cancer floor and helping them there. But life happens, and that got a little busy for our family. So now I've left the hospital, and I teach for them now. Actually, I teach for the same university I graduated from.
That's cool.
Which is fun because I get to teach about a lot of different things, and I get a little more free reign of what I get to educate on too. So nutrition is much more part of our curriculum.
Good.
If any of my students leave and don't know what an antioxidant is, I've failed. They all get measured regularly on the device I use too, which is fun because they like to see like what stress does to that too, because they're under stress. And so I have some of the best students who love to like track their levels and see.
So you have a machine that'll measure antioxidants?
I sure do.
And she brought it with us.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me more.
So
it's kind of how she and I connected initially. Is she had thrown a post up on social media talking about this machine, and I was quite intrigued by it. I said, "We would love to have you come in and talk about this machine because it's actually going to show you what's going on at a cellular level, right?"
Correct. Yep. So what we are measuring is called carotenoids, and carotenoids are a particular antioxidant. There's a lot of antioxidants that hang out in our body. This one in particular is one of kind of the bigger ones. It is what kind of helps defend those cells from a really strong level. And so it's kind of one that we have correlated over the last 20 years of like, this is one that's very important to have in high levels. Because when we have that in high levels, we know that your body is well protected at a cellular level. Without antioxidants, that breakdown causes inflammation, causes cellular destruction, causes oxidative stress, all of these things. And it's interesting because you go back into like the 2014 or 2010s, 2015s, as you dig back in literature, because I nerd out on that. I mean, I have a doctorate and like science is my game. So I will go back and dig in the literature, and there's so much about antioxidants and what they do for our body and how they're so important in name a disease. Like literally go into Google and type antioxidants or oxidative stress, which is the inverse, and pick a disease. And you'll start seeing publications about how we knew how important it is for antioxidant levels to be high to suppress oxidative stress to help with these diseases. And somehow it's not a conversation, which blows my mind. And we can literally measure that. And that's crazy to me. When I stumbled across what this technology does, I was jaw dropped because I know how important that is. And my goal is to like go yell it from the rooftops.
Yeah.
And
it's unfortunate that nutrition's not a bigger part of the medical system.
Yeah. I hope that we're making the shift, right? Like I know there is a lot happening right now where they're trying to push for more of that. Like I said, my personal goal is any pediatric nurse practitioner that comes to our program in the time that I am teaching them will know something more. Yeah. I bring like
you can leave a little seed everywhere you go.
I will. Even my family, like last night we were at a family birthday party and one of my brother-in-law's was popping blueberries. He's like, look, I'm getting my antioxidants. I was like, you better believe you are.
I've been listening.
Yep.
That's cool.
So I can tell Amanda's intrigued. Tell us more about this machine you brought with you.
Yeah, it is called a Prysm IO, and it is through a company called Pharmanex, and they have been doing this for 20 years, actually over 20 years now. And their whole goal is to use science and nutrition together. And so they are like deep rooted in science, which I love. They create a lot of supplementation that also helps with improving these levels, if you will, from a supplement side. Because it's hard with our diets. Like we talk about all these great foods and they're wonderful and everyone should be eating them all. But the way that food is grown anymore is so depleted. So you'd almost have to eat a wheelbarrow load worth of fruits and vegetables to get what you truly need to protect your body these days. I want to say there was a study done with apples, and it was like 10 to 15 apples now, I think, is what it was to be an apple like decades ago, because we've just made them to be sweeter and look better and all these other things, not be nutrient dense.
And that's what Dean talked about when he called it. Dean Yeager's in Texas now, and he does regenerative farming.
Okay.
And he talked about how he could grab, when he lived in state, he'd grab a handful of dirt from the neighbor's farm right across the fence and his farm, and how many more microbes that will be inside the dirt that he had because we have just depleted the soil so much. And so with nothing in the soil to feed the fruit and the vegetables, then we have fruit that looks like a fruit, but it's not, there's nothing in there.
Right. It tastes like sugar because that's what we bred them to do. And that's the other thing we've done is really crossbreed and rebreed and make food that it looks more appealing and has more sugar content, because we like sugar in US, which is unfortunate because that's not a healthy way to sustain the body. And we've also thrown so many toxic chemicals on every piece of land around here because everywhere you go, you see Roundup sprayed like it's candy, and that leaches into the soil. It doesn't stay in one place. So things like that really impact our food system, and we pull it when it's green and throw it on trucks and truck it somewhere to wait in a warehouse until it's weighed. And so losing nutrients that way too.
So we really have no idea what kind of nutrients there is on our body to begin with. So this machine will actually measure the nutrients in our body.
In a sense, it is measuring what is called a carotenoid, which comes from our foods. It is what is in all of those bright orange and kind of vibrant red fruits and vegetables both. Even like I think salmon and krill have it because that kind of bright color. So it's giving us a good correlation of how much you're taking in either nutrition or supplementation wise. And the reason that matters is that we can correlate that with diets. We've done studies that look at when we know this level is high, it's likely that all these other like good nutrient-based things are high in your body because you're not just eating a carrot. Like, I guess if you ate hundreds of carrots, you could probably like trick the test, which is the question I always get asked. Can I trick the test? Can I cheat? And you're like, kind of, but not really, because if you're just a normal human.
We take a lot to cheat.
Right. If you're just a normal human eating, then no, you can't, because really the goal is we're looking globally at your nutrition through this. And it's actually this newer version of the device. It's been around for 20 years and went from a ping pong size table down to a suitcase, down to a tabletop one, which I had for like almost a year. And then now it's the size of a hockey puck.
You've just got a little thing.
Like
it was here. I mean, it is literally the size of a hockey puck inside here.
That is crazy.
So we've got about 8 minutes left. If you can want to do a little demonstration here on how this thing works.
Yeah. I'll have to get my phone out. And well, we can do it with the colors first, and I can go through the numbers later. But literally, it is the easiest thing ever. So put your fingertip over the red circle and just make sure it's completely covered.
We'll find out in a minute. We'll find out in a minute.
I know, I didn't. It was wrestling
takes about
tournament weekend.
15 seconds. And then what's happening on there, which you guys can't see, is like there's a color wheel happening, and we do a color grade.
What
color is it?
For YouTube, I'll
do you
show
see the color?
like
it's blinking on red.
Okay, so blinking on red.
So it's done the full circle, and now it's blinking on red.
So that means you follow the red.
Good.
Correct. Red is not good. So when we're looking at antioxidant levels, we give them a grade, color, and we go back to grade school. Okay. So if I were to give you a grade, that's an F.
Ooh, that's not good.
Yeah. And that is what majority of Americans find because, again, we are just not eating enough of the nutrient-dense foods that we need.
Yeah.
Or that means there's a lot of oxidative stress in your body. So it's kind of a balancing act, right? We have to take enough in, but we also have to lower the oxidative stress in our body.
So it could be a combination of not dealing with the stress and...
But oxidative stress is not like the type of stress you feel. Oxidative stress is what's happening to your cells at a deep level.
Okay.
So that comes from stress. Like our stress can impact that. Lack of sleep, lack of exercise, higher BMI. Other things that correlate with it are like toxins that you're exposed to. If you have other diseases happening that are an inflammatory disease, that can bring that oxidative stress up. So you really have to eat even more of the fruits and vegetables or take supplementation to balance that back out.
Okay.
You want to try it?
You know, it's been a long, really tough week.
I will.
You quickly figure out how well your weekend went.
So you just have to make sure to cover, all the way
okay,
over.
we'll see.
And you have to tell me what color it blinks on because I can't see it.
It's going to do a little circle
thing. It's been
thing.
a really rough week.
And when it stops, it'll blink on one of the colors.
And it has a nice app that goes with it that walks you through everything too. I heard it beep. Did it tell you a color?
Yeah.
Is yours red too?
But it's closer to orange than yours was.
So one step higher. So we'll
It's a
go.
little higher.
We'll use the app here in a minute, and it'll give you a number as well. So what we do is
okay.
track it. So we want to see like what we are doing. Is it working or is it not working? If you set on it, you want to put it flat on a surface like a table. Yep.
So like I've had insane amount of wrestling tournaments. I've probably spent over 20 hours in a gym, wasn't eating good, not sleeping good. I've worked probably 5 times the amount of hours this week or last week than ever. Does all of that have a play into it?
Yes, you are stacking up. So again, when we talk about that scale, you are stacking that scale heavy on the oxidative stress side.
Okay.
So you're like to
Mine's red too.
And still not eating as well as I could because I was so busy and on the go that my home cooked meals were impossible to accomplish because I physically wasn't available.
Yeah. And so that's the hardest part is really just being able to balance the two of them, which you can have this in your home and monitor it every single day, which is so cool.
That's cool. So it can be an at-home thing that we can purchase.
She's now doing hers, so we'll get a comparison.
So can I ask, with the app that's on your phone, does
So
it
high
give
blue.
you- does
Good
it
for
give you a
you.
better breakdown, like through the app? Does it kind of?
Yeah. So the app is growing as we speak. This is, like I said, kind of a up and coming technology from what it used to be. The technology is not new, but the way that we are turning it out so everyone can have it. There used to be only 5,000 devices globally, and I had one of them. So I would measure people, and I'd have to meet with you, and then we go over the results. The new app that is paired with this device allows you to monitor this at home. You could do it every single day. The more you do it, the more it kind of learns. It has regenerative AI through it.
Yeah.
So it learns you better as well. And then it gives you coaching on like lifestyle and exercise and supplementation and nutrition to help move that score up so that your body can be better protected.
Yeah.
And what's fun about monitoring it is I can go back and look at my history. And there was a point where I dropped down into the green, which is low for me. And I'm like, why is it so low? Well, I got to thinking we were getting ready for Maui. So we were pushing ourselves really hard at the gym.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're creating more oxidative stress by pushing your body that hard, your score starts dropping if you're not compensating on the other side.
Okay.
And I was not doing a good job eating. I was not doing a good job hydrating, all the things. And so I got to watch my own score fall and be like, ooh, adjust.
Yeah. And you saw it in real time. So it was like, okay, wait, what changed? What can I do to be better?
I love that.
That's really cool. Instead of just guessing, because
it's hard to guess. We don't know.
Right.
We just, until you measure, you just don't know what's happening.
Well, and it's interesting that the three of us, we do this show. We've all tried to make changes in our lives.
Yeah, I've made
better.
huge changes.
You know, I think all three of us have tried to make changes, and yet all three of us measure in the red.
Yep, which is honestly, when you look at the data, majority of Americans, we kind of have neat bar graphs that are even part of the app that show you that majority fall on that red to orange side because we just aren't aware of what's going in. And even though you're eating the good like foods, how much are you eating? Are you getting enough? And when you're not, we fill the gaps with supplementation because supplements are ways that we can condense that down and create more nutrient dense without having to take in the amount or the calories because we just can't. It's so hard. Like one of our supplements is we have this great graphic that shows like a wheelbarrow of what the fruits and vegetables equivalent would be to get all of that.
Yeah.
So it just makes supporting your body in a natural way easier.
Yeah.
And then you still have to do the work on the exercise, the rest of the nutrition, the hydration, the stress reduction, the sleep. But those are all different pieces you can kind of add together.
Yeah.
But if you have a way to get the supplement side of it, that would be very, very helpful too.
And the best part is the supplements that this company uses alongside of this, we measure. We know they work because we can see your score come up. So if your score is not coming up, the company actually has this amazing like money back guarantee because we know it's going to work. We know these are going to not only go into your body, but go all the way out to your tissues, which is why we measure the finger because that's the farthest point from what you're absorbing. So we know that your nutrition is well saturated in your body, not just in your gut.
Right.
Will you remind listeners what's the name of that company?
Yeah. How can we reach out to get more information?
You can reach out to me, honestly. The company itself is called Pharmanex. It's really easy to just Google them and look them up, but it really helps to have somebody support you through that journey.
Very much so.
Because again, like the reason that TikTok exists, and there's so many shops out there, and people are like, what do I buy?
Right.
Find someone that can counsel you.
Yeah.
I'm happy to like reach out to people, or they can reach out to me and give good direction on it. Because again,
Okay.
we want good direction on your health.
People could Google Pharmanex with no knowledge to go with it.
Correct.
Yeah. So what's your contact information?
You can find me on Facebook by my name, Vanessa Rutherford. That's probably the easiest way to reach out. I'm in
That's
the process.
how I found her.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the process of opening a clinic. So that will be how you find me soon.
If you guys are having a hard time finding her, just email me, amanda@kslm.news, and I will get you over all of her information. That's really cool.
Isn't that amazing how quickly
That's really cool. You can
actually.
actually track it.
Yes.
With
And you track your kids.
no just, I did good today. I'm good. No. That's
My whole
tells you-
family measures. And you know what? Watching his score come up makes me happier than even my own.
Oh, I bet. That's awesome. Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming in and sharing. I really appreciate it.
I figured you would enjoy the two sides of this story.
Yes, very much so. Huge shout out to Venti's Cafe for being a sponsor for the second half. Go check them out. They have absolutely amazing food. Everything is super good. Their sweet potato fries are probably one of my favorites, though. And we will be back next week as the movement continues.